All righty, welcome everybody. Welcome to the 11th episode of Doug's Dugout. And in the house, we've got Doug, the guru for the MLB across the state of Texas. Doug, welcome back.
Glad to be back, Danny. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Doug. Doing good. Just it's been a very busy week and a busy coming up week. We've got that Apple event coming up on Tuesday. We've got a Starship update tomorrow, and it's getting pretty busy these days.
Did they get all the corrective actions done on the Starship? Or are they still working
It
on it?
looks it looks like Elon put out a list sometime last night of the corrective actions, all 63, and it looks like they've completed 56 or so, or 57 of the corrective actions. The other 6 or 7 remaining are basically on future flights. So it really just all sits with the FAA at this point. Um,
Like he didn't know he had to have them. Like he's known it. They they've been working on it for probably months. So
right, right. I guess they released the list to keep the trolls happy out there on the internet because, there's been some really nasty comments made about the FAA from a few trolls out there. They just don't understand that there's a process that has to be followed.
right, I mean, I had to, when I worked for in aerospace and even for our past employer, we had, I was in quality. We had corrective actions. This is part of the business.
Yeah,
You know,
it is. It's the
not a big
standard.
not a big deal.
Yep, it's part of the cost of doing business. We,
Yep. Yep.
both you and I had to respond to corrective actions all the time, so
Right.
it's normal operating procedure. All righty, Doug. So what's going on in the MLB? Any news this week?
It's we're getting in close to mid September, and the playoff picture is beginning to develop. The and my Redbirds are even though we're 20 games out of first place, we're getting beat tonight or getting beat today, but the overall we've had a pretty good month of September starting to hit, and the relief pitching hasn't fallen apart yet. So
Yeah, yeah.
we're seeing Mason Wynn, the rookie shortstop we got. He hit his first home run over the week of last week, and overall they've been playing some pretty good ball.
Now, who are they playing today?
Cincinnati is they're I mean they're fighting for a playoff berth,
Yeah,
and the games have been really intense because the Cardinals don't have anything to play for
right.
except respect. Well, Cincinnati, they're fighting for a playoff berth, and their team is pulling all the stops off. They've just about every questionable call they've asked for a replay.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, no matter what the inning is, or no matter what it is, they brought in their closer into about the fifth inning because I mean, when the game's on the line, even in the fifth or sixth inning, that closer can get him out. And I've always been, Whitey Herzog was like that, is that he would bring his closer in around the fifth or sixth inning if he thought that was a key point in the game.
Right.
Okay, and then there's been some other off the field activities. There's a Dodger pitcher named Urias.
Uh huh.
Okay, and he's been accused of some questionable activities. He's been suspended,
Wow.
and because of he's had a history of beating up on his partner, even
Ah.
though and on his girlfriend, and he got suspended. And then there's the player down in Tampa Bay, you know, I think that's
Mm-hmm.
his name. Okay, well, a key part of their team. Well, he's been suspended because of kitty porn. So
Oh wow.
allegedly, yeah. So there's been some off the field activities.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, Baltimore keeps on playing good and winning,
Yeah.
and The Dodgers, they're getting their act together. They don't even need this Arias guy. It's like they're so deep in their lineup, so they're playing good ball. And but Cincinnati, they're fighting. I mean, they're trying. They're put the manager's using every ball player he's got, you know, and just to try to get that edge. And they're doing double steals and stealing home plate and
Wow.
all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
you know, Cubs are still winning. Cubs are playing good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
and it
Well,
looks like it's gonna be. Yeah,
let's go ahead
go
and
ahead.
flip over to the standings chart here. And American League East, as you said, Baltimore is still up there. 90 wins, 51 losses. Hmm.
Yeah, unless they completely fall apart, we can just. I think Baltimore's going to win that division.
And then, of course, Tampa Bay is kind of in second place, and Toronto's in third. Who do you think there is wild card potential?
Well, I think Toronto's out of it.
Uh,
Okay, it was 11 and a half games ago with only 20 some games to go. I think it's been done before, but you know it it's hard to do. It's going to be hard to do for Toronto even to get a slot.
yeah. Well, definitely
Yeah,
Croston's pretty happy right now, I would think.
yeah, yeah. I don't think the ex Cardinals pitching very good there. Jack Flaherty, I think his ERA is up to 6.3 or something like that, which is 6 runs a game. So, but they're still winning. So
Yeah,
that's all that counts.
yeah,
In a very tough division.
yeah. And then, of course, Boston and New York, well, they're pretty much cooked at this point.
Yep, there are going to be some big changes in New York this year
I would think so.
coming up. Yeah, they're going to be probably a new manager, some other ball players. They've got that high payroll and they just didn't perform.
And then the American League Central, you've got Minnesota on top there.
Um, I'm gonna call. I think Minnesota's got it made. I think Minnesota's in
Yeah.
for. I think they're going to win the division. It's going to be tough for Cleveland at 7.5 games out with
Mm-hmm.
20 some games to play to do anything. I don't
Right.
think. You know.
And then you've got Detroit in third. Hmm.
Yeah, and Cleveland's not even playing 500 ball, so I mean, it's. I don't think they're going to even make the playoffs. Cleveland.
Yeah. And then, of
Detroit's
course,
out.
yeah. And then you've got the White Sox and Kansas City down at the bottom there.
Big changes in the White Sox this coming season. They're going to clean house. I suspect Tim Anderson, he'll be gone. There'll be some other players gone. So I think, you know,
Now, where do the White Sox play? Do they also play at Wrigley?
no, they play at Kaminsky. It used to be called Kaminsky Park. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's called something else. And I
Yeah.
have no idea what the name is. Matter of fact, my guy I watch on YouTube on Russ is Right, he was talking about the White Sox and he said he can't even remember he lives in Chicago. He can't even remember the name of the stadium.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. But it used to be Kaminsky Park. Now they rebuilt it. That's not the old Kaminsky Park where, the 1919 White Sox played, or, back then, They finally had to rebuild it like in the early 90s, mid 90s,
Right.
you know. Yeah. And then I think it was Comerica Field for a while. And
Ah, I
I don't know
remember
what
that
it,
name. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it's okay. It's South Chicago. So, that area.
Yeah.
And, um, you know, it's, you know, Northsiders and Wrigley Field. And they did rebuild that
Right.
a few years ago. He spent
Right.
over $1 billion in it.
Wow. And of
Same
course,
stadium,
yeah.
just modernized it. But
Yeah.
the Whites, yeah,
And of course, Kansas City's at the bottom of the barrel there.
Kansas City, bottom of the barrel.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, I don't. even in the offseason, I don't suspect Kansas City do much.
Yeah.
They're just going to build within their farm system and keep their payroll down low.
Yeah. And of course, the American League West, Houston's on top, 81 wins, 62 losses.
That's a horse race there. You got Houston. Everybody kind of knew that Houston. They've been up and down all year, but in the month of September, hey, they're going to get hot, and that's what they're doing. They got some of their players back from the injury list, and so they're going to be playing good ball.
Right.
Seattle fell down a little bit, but 2 games out, it's quite. 2 games isn't anything, especially when they start playing back to back during the month of September. So Seattle still could pull that division out.
Yeah. And then, of course,
And Texas,
Texas. Go ahead.
yeah, fell down a little bit, but there's still only 3 games. It's very possible for Texas to win that division with only even 20 games to go.
Right.
But I believe that extra wild card berth is going to be probably Seattle and Texas. So I
Yeah.
think Texas are going to go to the playoffs, which would be a good deal.
Yeah. And then you've got the LA Angels in fourth and the Oakland A's in fifth.
Yeah, the Angels, they're gonna they got to do some soul searching. Are they gonna sign Otani? What are they gonna do with Mike Trout? Mike Trout's got a long term contract, but he's been hurt quite a bit the
Yeah.
last couple of years, and they got this guy third baseman named Rodon that played for Washington a few years ago, and he got the big contract. He hasn't really done anything for them since he got that big contract.
Right.
So and there's some other players. So they're probably going to do some shakeups there.
Yeah.
Probably their manager will probably get fired, I would imagine.
Wow. And Oakland,
Yeah,
are they
Bill
leaving to Las
Nevin.
Vegas after all?
We don't know yet. It won't be next year, but probably the year after,
Mm-hmm.
unless the Coliseum or the mausoleum burns down or gets rat infested. If the rats take over the mausoleum, but
Right.
I haven't. It'd be interesting to see what their attendance is this year
Yeah.
because I doubt if they even hit 1 million this year
Wow.
in attendance.
Wow. In
What
total
I've seen has
attendance,
been
right?
like 6,000, 5,000, stuff like that.
Wow. That is kind of low.
I've seen videos of fans out in the parking lot doing their little tailgate deal,
Yeah.
trying to keep people from going into the stadium,
Oh my gosh.
not to support them.
Wow. That's
Because they're moving to Vegas, but it hasn't been announced yet. So
yeah.
that'll probably be an off-season deal. That'll probably be announced probably in the winter meetings, which start December the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Wow. All right. And as we turn our focus to the National League, you've got the National League East. No surprise there. Atlanta is on top.
Yeah, Cardinals played Atlanta this past week. There were some really good games. Actually, as a matter of fact, the Cardinals won the series against Atlanta. But you think about Atlanta, the Cardinals had a lead like 6-1 or 7-1 in the seventh or eighth inning,
Mm-hmm.
and Atlanta just keeps on coming back because they've got so many weapons. They got Ronald Acuna Jr. and he's got like 30 steals, 30 hits, and 30 homers, or 30 steals, stole 30 bases, you know, and then they've got um, they this catcher named Murphy they got from Oakland, and
Mm-hmm.
then they picked up a first baseman from Seattle last year. He's having a banner year. He's got like 45 or 47 homers. And then their outfield is the same way. They just they just got so many weapons.
You there, Doug? Doug, we lost you. You there? Hey, Doug. Alrighty, everybody. It looks like we've lost Doug here for a little. There you are.
There I am. I had a sorry about that. I had a FaceTime call come in from my son-in-law. He's up in Minnesota,
Uh-huh.
and they rode e-bikes. They went for an e-bike ride
Ah,
from his house to the park that we visited up there.
actually, Friday evening we were driving over to McAllen, which was a nightmare getting there with all that construction. And as we were passing by Rancho, I noticed somebody on an e-bike, and I thought it was you. But
What?
the person
What?
Friday evening, you there? Lost you, Doug. Can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Hang on.
Oh,
Hang on. Hang
I
on.
got you. I got you now.
Okay, did you come alongside of me? There was
No, no,
somebody
no,
the other day on the frontage road that come alongside of me, and I waved. They waved at me, and I waved at them, but I don't know who it was.
no, no, no. This was I was on the freeway, and but the person that was wearing that was the person that was riding was wearing one of those 1970s. Remember those suits they used to wear to lose weight? You know those. I don't know what they were made out of.
Really?
Yeah, why they were wearing something like that, I don't know.
In this heat down here?
Especially
God.
in this heat down here. No.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Sorry about that.
nah, not a problem. So
And my
definitely,
head.
yeah,
Yeah, and I had my thing on, do not disturb, but it got through anyway. So
not a problem. So yeah, so Atlanta's on top, and then Philly is right behind them, even though they're
yeah,
what
you
14
yeah you could
games.
pretty much
Four,
pencil Philly in for a playoff slot.
yeah, yeah, and of
Yeah.
course Miami's third.
Yeah, it looks like Skip Schumacher's team not going to make it this year, but they had a good year, so
Yeah,
they played good ball all
yeah,
year.
and of course, do I see New York in fourth?
Well, yeah, you know that's the New York teams this year.
Yeah. Now, of course, they were down at the bottom. Now Washington's down at the bottom.
Well, it's amazing what a $650 million payroll will get for you.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And then, of course, in the Central, you've got Milwaukee on top there, but they're battling out with Chicago.
Cubs got a chance.
Yeah,
Looks like the Cubs will definitely, get a playoff team.
yeah,
Milwaukee seems to have everything going for them. They're pitching and they're hitting. So I
yeah,
would probably pencil Milwaukee in to win that division, with the Cubs being the playoff team, the wild card team.
right.
It's going to be a battle between Cincinnati and Cubs. I think the Cubs are a little stronger than Cincinnati is.
Yeah. And then you've got Pittsburgh and your Redbirds down at the bottom there, Doug.
Yeah. I don't. My Cardinals. I mean, they've been playing good the last in the month of September, but my dad always said that you know these teams they're going for the salary drive.
Yeah,
So in order to get a good salary in the off season, they got to have a good month of September, even though
yeah,
they might finish the last place. And so it reminds me of a great story that I can tell you
yeah,
is that Pittsburgh has always been at the bottom of the heap for a long, long time.
yeah,
I mean, they had some good teams in the late 70s, early 80s, but for the most time, they've always been bottom dwellers. And so in the early 50s, uh, the great Branch Rickey was their general manager. Branch Rickey was the one that brought Jackie Robinson into the Dodgers, and he was a longtime Cardinal general manager. And so he had moved on from the Dodgers. He moved on to Pittsburgh.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, the Pittsburgh had this great slugger. His name was Ralph Kiner, and he hit like, I don't know, 55 home runs one year. like 1951 or so, which is a lot back then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Kiner thought that he was going to get a big raise.
Uh-huh.
So back in the day, the players would negotiate their own contracts. So you know the deal. They send the contract to you in the mail, and then the player refuses it, and then eventually you get in and talk to the general manager. So Kiner come in there, and they were in their negotiations, and Kiner walks in. He says, "How you doing, Mister Ricky?" And Ricky says, "Oh, I'm fine," and then they get start talking, and Kiner says, "Hey, look at my stats. I hit 55 homers, drove in 130 RBIs, and hit 320 or whatever.
Right.
And and Ricky, he took he kind of thought about it for a second, and he says, Ralph, I can the Pirates finished last place this year, and I can I can finish last if I sign you, and I'll finish last if I don't sign you. Okay. So it looks like you're not, I'm not going to give you any more money.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm going to take some money away from you.
Oh my
And
gosh.
sure enough, yeah, after that great year Kiner had, he actually lost money.
Oh my
I, I
gosh.
can, I can finish last with you. I can finish last without you.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah,
All right. And then lastly in the Western National League, you've got the LA Dodgers up on top there, Doug.
yeah,
Yeah.
pulling right ahead there.
And then you've got
Yeah,
Arizona right behind them.
yeah. It looks like Arizona and San Francisco are going to try to battle that out for that wild card slot. I mean, either one of those teams can, you know, do it. I
Yeah.
think Arizona's a little stronger though.
Yeah.
What I've seen of Arizona, they've got a little bit better pitching.
Yeah.
But San Francisco doesn't have any ball players at all
Yeah.
that have any names to them. The only one they've got, and that's from his grandpa, they got a Yastrzemski out in center field. Okay. Yastrzemski played for Boston back in the 70s, back in the 60s and the 70s, Hall of Famer. And his grandson's playing out there. Okay. He's been playing out there for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
He's not the ball player his dad was.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's about the only name they've got on their whole team.
Yeah. Wow.
You
And
know,
they're not
yeah,
doing too bad
they,
though.
yeah, they got some oddball characters on that Giants team too. There's an ex-Cardinal named Bribia, John
Right?
Bribia. He's a relief pitcher, and he's kind of an odd character. Bribia is okay. Like he, in the off season he's clean shaven, and then in the baseball season time, he grows this big beard. Okay, so you can tell in spring training, he's got a little stubble, and then by the end of the year, he's got a big beard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and Bribia is kind of when he was with the Cardinal, there was always some story about Bribia
Yeah.
that they wanted to tell. And matter of fact, when his wife had the baby, he named the baby um, Adam. He named it Adam Yadier Bribia
Yeah.
after Adam Cartwright and Yadier Molina
Oh wow.
with the
That
Cardinals.
is
Yeah,
cool. All
but
right.
Bribia was a character. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. And then we've
he
got
gets stuff. They would show him, and he'd be out in the bullpen. He'd be eating a hot dog or something out there, and his beard would have all kinds of freaking hot dog mustard and
mustard
all
and
kinds of
ketchup.
stuff on his beard. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All righty, and of course, last is San Diego and Colorado.
San Diego. Well, okay, there's going to be a lot of shakeup on that team this year.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, um, some of
I
the,
don't think they
they've got
expect it to be
they
that
got so many
bad.
superstars on that team. It's just, but they just couldn't get their act together this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, Colorado is Colorado, right?
Colorado is Colorado, home of the humidor out there in Colorado. And
Yeah.
you know, it's if you want to, that's where old pitchers go and die out there. If you want to
All
go
right.
to if you want to go to the minor leagues real quick, just go to Colorado. You'll be down there in a heartbeat.
Oh my gosh. All righty, Doug. Well, that's it for today's episode. I know that we're going to be back on Tuesday covering the Apple event that happens on Tuesday. We'll probably see a new iPhone and maybe some new watches. I don't know what else, but
Yeah, you got. You want to talk about the Apple event? We got a few minutes here.
yeah, basically the Apple event. It is Apple's September product release. For those of you that don't know, they're going to be releasing possibly the iPhone 15 series along with a few watches. It's going to be held at the Steve Jobs Theater on Apple Park during the day. And we'll be covering the highlights of that event on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. So, Doug, do you have any sneak peek insight into what we may be seeing?
Well, like you said, I think we'll see a new iPhone. How many iPhones we don't know,
Yeah,
but there are going to be a lot of colors. I think I've heard a lot of stories about a lot of colors. You'll probably see maybe a titanium iPhone for the higher
mm-hmm.
price one.
Yeah,
Okay, and that'd be like the Pro Max now. They may call it an Ultra. They may call it iPhone Ultra or something like that. You might see a telescope lens
mm.
on that one too.
Wow,
Okay, and I think all the iPhones will have the what they call the dynamic. Last year they announced the dynamic island.
right.
Okay, on the iPhone. I think all this year. I think all the iPhones will have a dynamic island.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe AirPods will be improved.
Yeah,
Okay, and then maybe a new generation of AirPods. Maybe, and then the Apple Watch. I think you'll probably see maybe a new Apple Watch, but I don't think there's any new health features that are going to be announced. Of course, so the everybody wants a blood pressure checker on it,
right,
or either that and a diabetes deal.
right.
You know,
Glucose
but I
monitor.
don't think that's not going to happen. They may go with a temperature like a thermometer,
Right.
but I don't know. I don't know. I've heard one guy said maybe they could have, and the other guy said, "Nah, you don't think it's going to happen because they don't have the technology."
Yeah.
So it could be anything. Not going to be more iPads, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I think there might be a new Magic Keyboard for the iPad, though.
Ah. Okay.
That's been a pretty hot rumor. That has more of a more of a keypad on it for using the mouse
Right.
on the keyboard.
Right.
Yeah, they were gonna. They're I guess they've redesigned that keyboard, so it's going to be like a Mac Air
Mm.
with a great big thing. I heard that too, and you might see, you know, um, guarantee, Tim Apple's going to get up there and say something. Oh, the Apple Watch has saved so many lives this year.
Right.
And they'll talk about the SOS feature. Oh,
Yeah.
this guy was stranded on the Himalayas and couldn't get out, but he had his Apple Watch on with the SOS feature, and he was able to survive the night, and they picked him up the next day or something, some crazy things like that. Yeah, Tim Apple likes that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, so I think it's going to be, an hour long,
Yeah.
maybe 45 minutes so long.
Yeah. What time does it
I don't know
start?
who.
The actual
Noon.
event? Noontime, like
It
always?
starts
Yeah.
well, our time, noon, ten
Right.
o'clock Pacific time.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so um, I'll be watching it.
Yeah.
You know,
I probably
I don't
will
think I'll
too.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it goes pretty fast.
Yeah.
You know, um, they'll talk about the new chip in the iPhone. I think it's called the A16 or A15 or something. They'll
Right.
the at the beginning of the event, Tim Apple will be standing on top of the spaceship there, like he always does.
Yeah.
And then they'll talk about all the stuff they're saving on the old, the climate change stuff. They always like to talk about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They definitely like to.
Recyclable stuff.
They like to talk about
Eh,
zero carbon. You know.
Yeah. Then they'll go down to Johnny Segrusi secret laboratory down in the bowels of the spaceship.
Right.
Where yeah, I think he's German or something. And he talks like Dr. Strangelove, and he's the new Apple chip. It shows the inside of the alleged laboratory where they develop all these Apple products.
Right.
And he'll be talking about this new Apple chip for the iPhone.
Yeah.
Apple, you know,
Yeah. All
yeah,
righty. Well, we're definitely excited about Tuesday. No doubt about that. So.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't know of any Macs. They may hope. Really, Macs. They've done just about everything they can do on the Macs for a while.
Yeah.
I think eventually they're going to have to do something about the iMac, like the iMac we're talking to on now that I'm watching you on, or we're
Right.
talking to on. I mean, it's still got the first series silicon chip, so
Yeah.
it's about due for an upgrade.
Yeah. No doubt about that.
Yeah, they may say something about the
The Vision Pro goggles,
yeah
glasses.
they may give an update on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Haven't heard much about that in a while, but definitely looks like it's going to be a pretty exciting day on Tuesday. No doubt about
Well,
that.
they might bring some developers in there, and they go, yeah, we've been working on this ever since they announced it, the last several months, and this is some of the stuff we've done, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to announce it's not till next year, or, sometime
Right.
next year, but Apple likes to, and there'll be somebody, there'll be a Japanese game guy come in there, and
Yeah.
and he's got some game that he's, this is the national champion for uh, for Japan, or the national champion for the world for video games,
Yeah.
and he's going to play a new game on the iPhone, and we'll show you how fast it is, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, we'll stay tuned on Tuesday, and once again, we're also going to have a SpaceX Starship update tomorrow. We're going to attempt to do our first Spaces conversation on X. So for those of you that want to join into the Spaces conversation via audio tomorrow night, you're welcome to do that, as well as the video portion of tomorrow's episode. So everybody, that's it for today. Doug, have a good Sunday afternoon. Head out to the Green Monster, get some laps, or get on that e-bike.
I plan on doing both. I missed a window this morning
Yeah.
on the e-bike, but I think I've been looking at the temperature and the wind speed, so it's about 6 o'clock, 6:30. I get on it.
Yeah.
It gets dark early now. It gets dark by 8.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think it's only going to be about 89 with a wind speed about 11, which is okay. But the Green Monster has actually been looking pretty good. They shocked it last week,
Yeah.
and it's in pretty good shape. The Green Monster is.
Well, that's good. That's good. It'll get you to go out there and do some laps. By the way, everybody, in about an hour and a half, we are going to have the official drawing for the Dallas Cowboy jersey that we've been advertising for about a month and a half. So we're going to announce the winner of the official Dallas Cowboy jersey. They will have a choice of either a number 11 Dak Prescott, a number 88 CD Lamb, or a number 11 Micah Parsons. So for those of you that participated and donated to Brownsville Tech Live, we will hold that drawing in about an hour and a half. So we'll be back to announce the winner shortly, prior to the Dallas versus New York Giants game tonight at 7. Doug, have a great Sunday afternoon, and we will see you on Tuesday once again.
Okay, Danny. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.